Welcome to Talk. My name is Eddie Marmolejo. Along with my co-host Jaime Moreno, we created this conservative podcast to bring facts to the issues America faces today. Left-wing bashing? That's too easy, and that's not what we do. Instead, Jaime and I tackle the issues, analyze them, and give our opinions through a conservative perspective. So if you want to join two conservative Latinos on this journey, sit back, crank up the volume, and let's talk.
Hi, welcome to Talk. We are your hosts, Jaime Moreno
And Eddie Marmolejo.
In this week's podcast, we will discuss many issues that are going on in the country, many debates, and many questions of where we're heading to as a country. One of the first debates we'll talk about is the Mueller report. We have found, and the Mueller report has said, that the president has not committed any collusion nor any obstruction of justice. But why are the Democrats still insisting that they'll find something in the 400-page report?
I have no idea.
We will also talk about the terrible and most tragic attacks in the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. On Easter Sunday, many Christians were attacked simultaneously during the worship service by ISIS and radical terrorist Muslims. We will discuss the details on that and why that is important to us. Going back to the state level, we will also discuss our own governor here in California. Did you know that he does not know why gas prices in California has increased? Currently, California has the highest gas prices. If you live in California, you're either paying $4 and some change or $5 and some change, depending on where you live. We will discuss what Governor Newsom wants to do about that. We will also discuss about the CNN town hall and the many, many ideas exposed by the Democratic candidates against President Donald Trump and what the proposals are for 2020 and if they are elected to president. Is it feasible? Does it make sense? You'll decide. And we will also talk about Joe Biden's announcement for the presidency today and also Representative Ohmar's comment about the U.S. terrorizing Somalia.
I'm sorry, I ran that last one, but it's just funny. Well, I will get to it, but on that note, thank you for tuning in once again every week to all our faithful viewers. Thank you for tuning in. But to those who are new to the show, please start by following our page here. Subscribe to that channel so you get notified of the new episodes that are uploaded. You can also follow us on both Facebook and Instagram. Hit those follow and like buttons there so you guys can share our videos, which are also posted on those pages. And tell your friends about us. And with that, let's begin with the much anticipated retracted version of the Mueller report. Go ahead.
Edited?
That's what I said, retracted. No, it's edited because you can't have grand jury testimonies.
But the Democrats want grand jury evidence.
Get a court order, and you guys can talk about it. But the one that's made out to the public, you guys can go on the Justice Department page, is right there. Or if you go, you do the search of the Mueller report, your media
search
websites,
engine.
the search engine or the media has like hyperlinks that can lead you straight to the Mueller report. It is 438 pages long. So good luck reading that in one day.
That
two
might
volumes.
Be...
So it's divided into two volumes. Volume 1 talks about all the interviews they made, in Volume 2 that dealt more with the obstruction of justice and all those questions. But take it away, Jaime. Let's begin with this Mueller report.
So this Mueller report. So as we know, for the past 2 years, the Trump administration has been under investigation by Special Counsel Mueller. And the purpose of the investigation is to find out whether or not the president and his campaign staff colluded with Russian intelligence to steal, rob, or influence the 2016 election. They also, the investigation, tried to see if they can find any evidence that President Trump tried to obstruct, or in other words, tried to stop, hinder, block, or misinform the investigation into such collusion, right? So the Mueller report came out, a little background history. Continuing with the history, 2 years went on, finally came out. A current Attorney General Barr gave a 4-page?
Yeah, he gave a 4-page summary as to what were the findings of the Mueller report, where he initially stated that there was no evidence of obstruction or collusion, and basically we were not going to continue on with this. And then, of course, Congress was not happy.
Yeah, they were not happy.
They were not happy that the guy they were happy to appoint, and they were so certain they were going to find evidence of collusion and obstruction, said, hey, well...
No. It wasn't so certain. They were, like...
That's what I'm saying. They were absolutely certain.
They were going to prove them right. Prove them right.
Basically, they already had the champagne, the corks popped, everything. They had it all glass, you know. They had the Trump and Dykstra party, you know. Mm-hmm. But Mueller said, well, no.
Yeah, about that. Remember, this is the man that the Democrats and those opponents of President Trump approved of being the investigator, wanted him to be the investigator, and actually pushed for him to be the investigator because they were so certain, 100% certain, that there was collusion between President Trump and Russia, and that President Trump committed a crime of obstruction of justice.
Yeah. So Attorney General Barr in that Forbes place said no. Congress was not happy. They said we won the whole thing. We need the whole thing because Congress is going to determine whether President Trump is guilty or not. Not the Attorney General, not
the prosecutors.
Not the prosecutors. It's Congress.
Pretty much those watching in the courtroom.
So basically, Attorney General Barr on the 18th, which was last Friday, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Last Friday, 18th. No, last Thursday. Excuse me. Came out and said, well, in accordance with my letter of March 29th, I'm once again telling you that the special counsel found no evidence of collusion. No evidence of obstruction. This is 428 pages, or 30, one of the two, 20 or 30. I can't remember now.
It's long.
Yeah, it's long.
400 plus pages.
Yeah, which, again, it does have retracted information, but that, again, the only retracted information that was only done by the Justice Department. There were no outside sources of retractions. It's not like the White House put certain retractions or anybody else. No. The Attorney General Barr clearly stated during his press conference that Thursday that anybody who was involved in the investigation only did certain retractions because there's national security implications or grand jury testimonials, which on ongoing investigations, which by law you can't look at unless you have a court order. So if Congress wants to look at those retractions, those grand jury testimonies, they have to go get a court order. So good luck with that.
And just a little background, every time there's any investigation, whether it be a federal investigation, state or local investigation, when you're under investigation, they don't release the information that they're still investigating, because if they release the information of the stuff they're still investigating, that can lead to people knowing things, and obviously it will lead to hiding information, changing stories, or if you're under investigation, you might do something where they will hinder the investigation, pretty much, right? So when they say things we retracted because of investigation is still investigating, that means that we don't want to, tell people they're being investigated, or we don't want people to know who's still under investigation, because that can lead to a different conclusion or changes in the outcome of the investigation. Right. So it's technically legal. It happens all the time in any criminal investigation, whether it be criminal investigation under, whether you committed tax fraud or an actual crime, or you are under investigation because you're accused of hitting someone or you're accused of something, right? So those things are sensitive information. Once the investigation ends and they find nothing, or they find something, then the information is released, right? So if they find nothing, then they let you know, we stopped the investigation, we concluded nothing. If they find something, 100% more likely that you'll be facing actual indictment charges.
Yeah, so after 2 years and twice saying no, you would think this is over, right?
Yeah.
You would think it's like Grand Slam and all that. And
well, the president calls it an absolute exoneration.
It's exoneration, vindication, but, as good responsible journalists will look into there's a line in the Mueller report that says this doesn't exonerate or vindicate the president, and you open a can of worms. Because this can of worms actually started during the press conference, because one of the reporters asked, and let me find the quote, like, why are you being so generous towards the president, and you're not where Democrats are saying, yeah, you're not acting like an attorney general, but you're acting
they're
more like
asking
Trump's.
attorney
Yeah,
general.
the attorney general. You're not acting like an attorney general. You're acting like Trump's personal defense lawyer. And he's like, well, all these claims of sincerity and all that are actually within the Mueller report. So I don't know how you're accusing me of being generous to the president. I'm going based off what the facts and the legal theories that were presented by the Mueller report, which clearly state that there is no substantial evidence or intent of obstruction or intent of collusion with the Russians. Now, the media has something right. The Russians were involved. The Mueller report clearly states that. But for us here, where they're getting it wrong.
Yeah, basically Trump is not a Russian agent.
He's not a Russian agent, but the way, and when you look at MSNBC, CNN, and all that, they're saying, no, look, he worked with the Russians because the Russians are mentioned. The Russians had an agenda to work with Trump. Okay, the Russians couldn't have that agenda to work with they want to work with the president. The president, or at that time, candidate Trump, has to agree to work with the Russians or agree to collude or obstruct and all that. Nothing in the 438 pages of that does it reveal that he said. It actually reveals the opposite. It's like, no, we don't want it. We don't want it. Testimony after testimony after testimony, and they're still not happy. Like, I don't understand why the media, right, especially CNN, man. Look at CNN. I'll just quote Don Lemon here, right?
Don Lemon, our favorite friend, Don Lemon.
Don Lemon says, it does not exonerate the president. The report tells you that all you have to do in order to find guilt in the president is to read the report.
Yeah.
So, I'm like...
I mean, people are reading it.
Yeah.
So, what specific did the president commit a crime in?
And then check this one out. Chris Kuzmo, right? In the same report.
Chris Kuzmo.
Kuzmo. He's like, forget about fake news. It's about fake views from the White House.
Oh, what? It's about fake views?
Fake views from the White House. So, it's like, they're not laying this...
That's new.
Yeah, it wasn't... They were in the same interview. They were talking about it, how... No, look, it's all in here. All the guilt and all that. And I'm like, no, it's not. There has to be clear intent. There's no clear intent. And where is all this coming from, right? One, because of what the Attorney General said, and
that judge exonerated.
Yeah, exonerated. But two, because there's this phrase on page 78 of Volume 1.
Oh, that's right.
Where it says...
The famous
words that it says, how could this happen to me? This is the end of the presidency, of my presidency. I'm effed. Everybody started reporting it. MSNBC, CNN, even John Oliver and HBO talked about it. They were posting clips like, I'm effed, yeah, you're screwed, Trump. No, because that's not what the entire quote said.
That quote was actually said the day that
the
special counsel Mueller was assigned to investigate.
Right.
The day of.
Yeah.
It wasn't the day after. It wasn't in between. It was the day of. Why? Why would he say something like that?
So,
if he's innocent,
according
why would he say something
like that? Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Chief of Staff, right? She was taking notes of the meeting, what was going on, and based on the interview of Hunt, I forget her first. It's her, right?
Judy Hunt.
Yeah. Judy Hunt. She wrote that the president was upset at the becoming aware that there was a special prosecution being appointed by the to investigate the events of 2016. He was upset at Jeff Sessions for already recusing himself from the Russia investigation. So it's a double whammy right here. So one, your attorney general, who he's already mad about for recusing himself, right, for not basically taking part of the Russia investigation, and then two, you find out they have a special counsel, comes out with the phrase, "This is the end of my presidency, I'm effed." Well, there's more to that quote, which is the part that the media left out, right?
What's obvious.
Yeah, the part of the media left out. And what the media left out, and this is not verbatim, but quote is, "I'm effed because everybody has told me that if you have a presidency and you have a special counsel, there's nothing really I can do now. Because these things take for years. So literally...
Ruins your presidency.
Ruins your presidency, so therefore, I'm effed." And then if you go after that, right, he's asking for Jeff Sessions' resignation because he said, how could you let this happen? I already told, there's nothing going on. Why is everybody like not believing? What? He's like frustrated at this point. You can even tell by the way the notes are and everything, right? He's frustrated. He demands Jeff Sessions' resignation. And well, that's funny because
remember this conversation happened in May 2017.
May 17th of 2017. Jeff Sessions did not resign until November 7th of last year.
So over a year.
You still have Sessions, right? And of course, like when you read it and you actually read the whole thing, not just the end of my presidency, I'm effed. No. You could tell that Trump is frustrated. He just got elected, right? And all these accusations are coming around. And then you appoint your attorney general. You're mad at your attorney general because he doesn't want to do his job. Like, what did I appoint you for? You take the job. You don't want to do the job. But why are you here? And then you have a special counsel. I'm like, oh, man.
So, in any presidency, just in anything in life, right? If you yourself, for example, you put yourself in a situation where you're under investigation for whatever reason, right? You're under investigation by police or investigators, right? And people find out. If you think about it, people are going to talk about you, and it's going to make you look bad, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. People are going to have doubts because you're being investigated. So much so that even if you are innocent of the investigation, innocent of any wrongdoing, by the fact that you're under investigation by law enforcement, makes you look bad at your work. It can make you look bad with your social life, your neighbors. It makes you look bad with your friends at church or at work or your family members. They have suspicion, right? Because the mentality is that if you're innocent of any wrongdoing, you won't be under investigation. You're only under investigation if someone suspects that you did a criminal act or did something wrong, right? But like we always say here in the show, that you're always innocent until proven guilty. So even though that's the way it works. Even though you're under investigation, doesn't necessarily mean that you're guilty, right?
But that's not what we saw for 2 years, though.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say to the public here, with our viewers here, is that when President Trump said, "Oh, I'm effed because I have an investigation, it's going to ruin my presidency," he's not admitting or implying guilt. He's just saying the fact that people will look upon you with doubt, will frown upon the idea that you're being investigated, right? So people might not want to associate with you. Some people might not want to hang out because they're afraid that they may be also included or may be also investigated for associating with you, right?
Yeah,
it's just a general...
but for him, for the president at the time, and I could already imagine just being in that Oval Office meeting, it's like you lose... By this, he's already afraid he's going to lose political capital. How is he going to work with Congress? How is he going to be like, well, dude, you're under investigation. I don't got time for you.
Yeah.
Next, stuff
Look
like that.
Look at here, guilty guy. Even though there's no proof yet, but you're guilty because you're investigated.
Yeah, so it when you read that quote and then when you read comments, they were all over the media. No, he's guilty. No, let's just read it. My favorite one was the impeachment one. the impeachment one.
That's right. That's our favorite one, yeah.
The impeachment. No, the president has to be impeached. Look, the report is right there. The counselor is asking for impeachment. So what we do, and I did this in front of you, I looked up how many times the word impeachment comes out in that 438-page report. How many times did that come out?
10.
10. Okay? And of those 10, did you see impeachment, president, and Trump in the same sentence?
No.
So, what we saw, and this is no joke, you can download the report.
Check it yourself.
Type in the word impeachment. Because, unfortunately, we don't have the time to read 438 pages, but we will look as to what people are saying so we can, is that what they're really saying? No. So when CNN posted that, the whole thing, and MSNBC was like, I'm effed. I'm like, okay, let me go look at that paragraph.
Yeah, let's look at the context.
Look at the context, and you read the whole thing, hence our analysis of it right now. But then I looked at impeachment, no joke. It was the statutes of when a president can be brought up for impeachment and what charges have to be brought against the president to even take it to Congress for it to be impeached. None of it had the words impeachment, president, and Trump. Well, actually, it had impeachment and president, but not impeach President Trump. That's like the sentence I was looking for.
Yeah.
Or recommend impeachment of the president of the United States.
Nothing
because
of that.
If you had that, then I'm like, okay, then why? And then you can go there. But not even the attorney general said, like, look, there's no proof. There's no sufficient intent or lack of thereof to say the president is charged of obstruction or is charged of collusion. There's no evidence of that. What I liked about the attorney general too during his press conference is that he distinguish the way a regular civilian or somebody can be charged at a certain time with the same charge and be prosecuted, and when a sitting president can't, because it's in the report as well. Because the report clearly states, because that was another argument given up by the mainstream media. They're like, well, if he was somebody else, like, he would have been prosecuted. Okay, he's a sitting president. the report tells you what the law allows you to do while investigating a sitting president. That's and according to the Mueller report,
according to the law
and the Mueller report, it says that while a president is serving his term of office, he cannot be charged. He can be investigated, but not charged. So that's why when they found everybody else that were doing some wrong things, they were investigated and they were charged because they were not in public office.
Yeah, and remind you, they were charged for other things
that were
not about collusion or obstruction. They were charged because of their own wrongdoing in other situations and other types of crimes.
So he says that's why the investigation was conducted differently for the president than it was for somebody else, and
for us regular folks.
Yeah. So. And in that context is where you see impeachment. Well, the president doesn't qualify.
Yeah, and not only that, I think we saw it too. The word impeachment was in the footnotes.
It's in the footnotes.
It's in the footnotes. It's not even in the report. It's like a reference. If you know how to do citations and stuff, or the Chicago style.
Chicago style of writing. So Chicago style of
reference.
Writing. Yeah, we'll have like a little sentence and maybe a quote and a little number on top, right? And then if you go to the bottom of that particular page, there's a footnote with the number on. That's what they're called, and it tells you where they got the source or what the quote actually came from, and all that. Like 14 impeachment, and I'm like,
impeachment's in the footnotes.
Impeachment's in the footnotes.
It's a reference.
So when I'm seeing MSNBC, I'm like, what are you talking about impeaching the president? There's no basis. Well, there's no case. There's no case. But what opened the can of worms is seen in that report. This does not exonerate the president, even though the president says they're exonerated.
So why would the Attorney General say that?
Say
or
what?
Write that? That doesn't exonerate him.
No, the Attorney General, the Mueller did that.
Mueller report.
Mueller report. He's like, so no,
it doesn't exonerate him.
So it's basically saying you can keep investigating if you want to, but. Because you can't charge a sitting president, you can't exonerate him. You haven't been charged.
Yeah. We get that you can't charge a sitting president. So let's say that.
Trump, and then if you can't charge him, you can't exonerate him. Because an exonerator means you're already charged. So if you can't charge,
that's right. so it's a play of words. It's a play of legal words here. So exoneration, like Eddie said, exoneration means that you were guilty of something and you are guilty of something, and they just dismissed it, like they did with Justice Smollett.
Yeah.
Justice Smollett was exonerated.
Or pretty much. So when you read that, the media's like, yo, you see the report right here. It says on page 482. Actually, I'm assuming it's 482. It says right here, this does not exonerate the president. You can't exonerate somebody that hasn't been charged.
Yeah, you can't dismiss a case if there's no case. It's like you can't be innocent if you haven't been proven guilty yet.
But the media's like, oh no, he's guilty. I'm telling you. 2 volumes right here. 2 volumes worth of evidence. I'm like, I read it in 4 pages, and 4 pages said there's no sufficient intent for the president. But the media went on this tangent of impeachment, and now even the 2020 Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, but we'll get to that later. Yeah. But pretty much what we're saying is that the Mueller report doesn't really say that the president committed any crimes. Right. He actually didn't commit any crimes. Yes, there were contacts with Russians, but nothing came of it. So it's like saying, let's say I go meet a banker, right, for a loan, okay? Just because I met with and that banker that I met with tends to have to do embezzlement, right? But because I met the banker doesn't mean I embezzled, right? So I met the banker. He offered me, trying to see if he could give me a loan. You know what? The loan didn't came out of it. Nothing came out of it. I went my way. He went his way. The same thing with but even though the banker was under investigation or was an embezzler, that doesn't mean that I was embezzling, right? So the same thing with Russia. So Russians met with some people trying to give them information, but it was actually never happened. Nothing exchanged. It was just like a meeting about nothing. A waste of time. Even the evidence shows that was just
they showed that it was a meeting where the Russians intended. Because you guys, folks, you got to understand, the Russians did stuff in the 2016 election.
Yeah, they did.
But the problem is they went, like, I'm going to Jaime, you want to use this and you help us out later on?
Or, they're like, nah. We're good.
So, I mean, you could have all the meetings you want. You could have all the backdoor meetings you want. If you don't commit the crime, then the suspicion only remains that why were you meeting him in the first place? Which is what this whole cockamamia of reports and allegations were coming out. Oh, he met with him at Trump Tower. Well, he met this person over here. The report does not suggest that they said yes.
And the meetings are about other issues too.
There was real estate
meetings.
Like, I think the Cohen was the one. I think we're talking about the show was with Trump Tower in Moscow.
Yeah, Trump Tower in Moscow. Yeah,
and all that stuff.
So it was pretty much business, not so much any collusion to hey, let's steal the election. Right. You know, like Hillary Clinton did. I mean, tried to do right when she was running for office. But we'll discuss that at a different time.
But
right. So pretty much the Mueller report does not have any evidence. Does not suggest the president committed any crimes. The Democrats still insisting on reading the Mueller report. So they read the Mueller report. They're reading the Mueller report. They're analyzing the Mueller report, and there's still not enough evidence. And the only quotable evidence, not even evidence, quotable, close to a guilt is I'm effed. But even in the context of that statement,
it's not even. You can't even put it in context because
he didn't
how I described it. He's just pissed off and put it in. And
that in his presidency, there's an investigation.
Now he's gonna have to deal with. I don't know, 4 years of this, and then if he gets reelected, he's not going to get to do anything because, like I said, nobody wants to associate with an investigator president, and then
anyone being an investigator in general, no one wants to be associated.
Well, no, yeah, but I'm just saying in the context of the president.
So if that happens to you or someone you know, I mean,
right?
Imagine how the president must feel. So, like we said, the media is going to continue to try to allude to impeachment. They're going to try their best to try to say that the President Trump committed a crime. If you actually, for yourself, look up the report or you skim through it, if you're a fast reader, skim through it, or just pay attention on the evidence the media and the Democrats are saying. If you look at it, there's no evidence. They're just talking about in generalities.
Yeah.
They're so mad that President Trump won the election that they still are giving it up. And Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, is pretty smart about this. She says we will not go ahead with impeachment proceedings. It's not because she doesn't want to, because she sees that there's no evidence. I'm assuming that deep inside she knows that there's not enough evidence to prosecute.
It's interesting you bring that up, Hyman, because not only her, the president, but her base, and I mean the regular Democratic voter. There was a report by MSNBC too. They went to New Hampshire, Florida, and I forget what other third state. Right, New Hampshire being the first caucus, right, and Florida being a purple state. And incredibly, in both states, when they approached Democratic voters, they say, "What do you think about the Mueller report? And what do you think the Democrats' reaction?" They were like, "Can we move on from this?"
Really?
Like, no, they're really like, I'll find the I have the video saved in my history, so I'll
look at the link below.
And they're like, can we move on from this? Like, seriously, like, look, I mean, I'm no fan of Trump. This was one of the persons said, I'm no fan of Trump, but seeing my party's reaction to this is gonna make me vote for him in the next election.
A Democrat said that. A Democrat voter said that.
Yeah, because look, they're hurting themselves so much by sticking to this and sticking to this and sticking to what is it? They're like, what more do you want? Like, it's getting at this point, it's just getting annoying.
It is.
It's getting annoying when you turn on MSNBC, when you turn on CNN, when you turn on CBS, when you turn pretty much everybody, even Fox News, even though they're defending it, they're like, well, you know, they're still talking about it. It's like, what more do we need to talk about? There was a 4-page summary which stated the same thing. You waited about 2 weeks to hear the same thing all over again. And then you get the report, well, we need a court order because we wanted the retraction. Well, you're not going to get anything. If anything, you might get something about Trump's behavior. And that's about it. That's why everyone's like, oh, well, Trump's a very terrible person. Look how he behaves here. That's not a criminal offense. Okay? Just because I'm an a-hole does not mean I'm a criminal. Okay? I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Just because I'm an a-hole.
Just because someone's an a-hole does not make him a criminal.
Just because I fired half of my cabinet because I can't get anything done because all these useless people, okay, I'm not saying that's what the president said. I'm just, it's like all these useless people can't get anything done. I'm firing all of them because it's his cabinet. He has the power to do that. I'm getting new people in doesn't mean I'm a criminal. And that's I'm not a criminal. And it's funny when you read the report and you read the frustrations from the president. I'm like, dang, dude. Dang. Like,
yeah. How would you feel in that situation, right? How would you feel? Put yourself in that situation. You're under investigation. because someone accused you of something and there's nothing there, right?
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about it to stop it, end it, or to just pretty much end it, right? So you just got to be stuck with it. So like he said, the president was frustrated. The words he said was out of frustration, and based on the people around him, it's all been about frustration. So like we said, the Democrats are still trying to find something, but they haven't found anything. And the fact that they're still saying that, oh, he committed a crime, but it's impeachment, there's nothing in there that's impeachable. And, like I said earlier, Speaker Pelosi is pretty wise in not moving forward with impeachment, because in any trial, because the president has to go under trial before the Senate, right? That means evidence, that means witnesses, that means just like you would see in CIA and NCIS and all those, Law and Order shows, you have evidence and all that stuff has to come up. If they go to trial, there's going to be not enough evidence. There's no evidence. It's just going to be a repeat of what the report says. There's no collusion, no obstruction. And all we're going to do is hurt the American confidence, the public's confidence in our investigative teams, in our law enforcement.
Yeah, so the Democrats, you guys have to give this up, man. You have to. You guys got...
Yeah, basta.
I mean, even you Trump haters out there, because I'm just going to call you what you are, the Trump haters. You guys got to give it up. There's nothing. Like, look, Justice Smollett... I mean, when you have...
we should go under Justice Smollett, for goodness sake. Goodness gracious.
Kim Fox came out and said, yeah, we know R. Kelly, 20 counts. And then you have this washed up actor, 16 counts, saying, we prosecute, but we don't really have to. And stuff like that. That's a clear...
It's dismissed.
And then...
that's what we should be upset about.
So, but President Trump...
that's corruption.
We're at a time where Americans are upset that the President of the United States did not commit treason. I don't know how many times I've said that in the show. We're at those times, people, where our media, liberals, and Trump haters are so mad that the President of the United States did not commit treason. I never thought I would live to see today, but apparently I do live to see this day, unfortunately. But it's like, why? Like, just give it up. Let's move on.
And like Eddie said, we're not big Trump fans. We do approve some of his policies, and we disapprove other policies, like you've seen here on the show. But just because you don't like the person doesn't mean that they have to be forced out of power, right? There's other means to get them voted out, which is voting in the 2020 election. Yeah. If you like what the president's doing, you vote for him. If you don't, you vote him out of power. As easy as that. The Democrats and the liberals always give that message out. But since Trump did not commit any crimes, they know that they're in danger. They're probably risking. They're risking their chances of taking the White House in 2020. But you guys will decide. So let's move on to the next topic. Tell us what you think about the Mueller report.
Yeah,
if you read it,
get those opinions in there.
Get those opinions in there.
Are you guys satisfied? You guys satisfied? You still don't think you need the unretracted version of the Mueller report? You want to? I mean, you can submit. You call your congressman.
Read the report first before you ask for the unretracted.
484 pages.
At least skim through it.
1,300 megabytes.
It's gonna be a long download, right? But let us know what you think. Comment below. Give us your feedback.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
Next topic is Sri Lanka. Okay. As you guys know, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka has recently suffered its own terrorist attack. Eddie, can you give us any details on that?
So first of all, if you don't know where Sri Lanka is, it's a tiny island. Well, it's not a tiny island, but it's an island off the coast of India to the south.
Right under the peninsula.
Southeast of India. So there was a terrorist attack Sunday. I woke up to this, and all I see is Sri Lanka attacking Sri Lanka. And I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Right? And then I see 7 bombings at the time, all on Christian churches, predominantly Catholic. Things you got to know about Sri Lanka: the country is predominantly Buddhist, okay, with 2 minorities of Muslims and Christians. These attacks happened in the Christian churches, and there were like 7 coordinated attacks. I think one was at a buffet too, if I'm not mistaken. I think one of them was at a buffet, and yeah, because they said the guy was going to queue you in, and he was going to conduct the attack.
Wow.
Yeah, so
can't even eat comfortable.
Yeah, right. So the guy who masterminded this was, and I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna say his name right, but Saran Hashim. Hashim. Okay, that's the guy. He's he's basically said he's tied to ISIS, right? So the Islamic State, the group that we defeated conventionally in Syria, which, as I said in one of my personal posts, I said, look, when President Trump claimed defeat against ISIS, or when the American go against ISIS, it was by conventional means. There's still a front you haven't defeated, which is the influence. That's when you deal with terrorist organizations. You have the conventional means, which only takes care of one aspect, but when you find terrorist organizations, like I said, I think last week, you have to kill the network. Mm-hmm. This is one example where the network has expanded, okay? So this guy masterminded attack of 7 churches. Estimated counts of dead and wounded. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. It was 300 and... I know it's here somewhere. 359 people killed and more than 500 wounded. Okay, so terrible attack during Easter. Okay, I had a little problem with this because people were starting to assume again. Time I talked to you about this, they were starting to assume. They were already pointing out, and it came true, right? That the Muslims were responsible about this, but everybody was just already assuming it was Muslims, even though the country is predominantly Buddhist, and they were in a long-term civil war
with Buddhists,
with radical Buddhists conducted into a civil war. So I'm like, can we just get the facts first and all that? But everybody jumped the gun. But here's one problem. Here's one problem. I mean, people that were making false
self-fulfilling prophecies,
even though they were correct. But it's the same people that are asking of us to wait for the facts. Wait till everybody comes in.
I get it.
Everybody wait for the facts and to come in. No, those people did it. No, they're responsible. You don't understand that 95% of all terrorists are of that denomination. And I'm like, okay, can you wait? For me, I said wait because in this country, 95% predominantly.
So the Muslim population in Sri Lanka is really small. It's a minority.
Yeah.
In fact, if you read the history of the relationship between, of the treatment of Muslims in Sri Lanka, they've actually been attacked and abused and harassed by the large majority of Buddhists in the island. The conflict, right? So if Muslims are minority and they're being attacked and harassed by Buddhists, right, which you wouldn't ever, there's a fly in here, you wouldn't even guess, right? Like Buddhists are the most peaceful people on earth. Like, why would they even try to attack you, right? But they've had that problem in Sri Lanka, that Muslims are harassed and attacked by the large Buddhist population, right? Mm-hmm. So, given that fact that, Sri Lanka is predominantly Buddhist and Muslims are a small population, you want to sit back and think, okay, who actually committed this? And like Eddie was saying, and it's true, Eddie pretty much went in the defense saying that we need to look at the facts first, but we start pointing fingers on who's responsible for the attack.
Yeah, because like I said, and I said this on my show,
and
on the show last week, like, I don't want to generalize somebody of a certain religion to be this. Mm-hmm. And especially when you start looking at the history of Sri Lanka and you're in a civil war between 2 factions, right? That one Buddhist, one Muslim, and so forth. Like, let's wait a minute, because this is, I don't want to believe it, but let's just wait for the facts. And people were saying, well, you're just blind and you don't want to. No, dude, wait for the dang facts and then we'll talk about it, okay? Turn out that it was Muslims. Turn out that they conducted the attack. I was like, okay, there we go.
It was radical, extremist, terrorist Muslims.
Yeah, radical Islamic terrorists.
We're not saying the entire population of Muslims were responsible, but a certain faction within the religion, there are extremists that have committed this crime, right? So another thing that we saw with the Sri Lanka attack is that it was Christian churches. And that's the interesting part, because you would think that these radical extremist Muslims would attack Buddhist temples.
Given the history of Sri Lanka.
Given the history of the civil wars and the battles within Sri Lanka. But they went ahead and targeted Christians, which is another minority group, smaller, I think, than the Muslim group in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Why would they go ahead and attack Christians themselves? It would be more reasonable, like I said just a while ago, that they would attack Buddhist temples or Buddhist population. But they went specifically for Christian churches, right? So that's something that we still have to investigate, right? They're still going to come out with a report on that. Why Christians and not Buddhists, given the history.
Yeah, and also what I'm kind of upset of reading too, as the investigation goes on, is that there was an alert that there was a potential terrorist attack on churches by I don't know who. There was a threat.
Yeah,
so there was a threat 10 days out. 10 days out, but it's Easter Sunday. You're not gonna stop people from going to a place of worship or to church.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's just sugarcoat it. You go to church. I'm sounding like left wing media here. Yeah, they're going to their place of worship. No, they're going to church. Go to church.
Mass, whatever you want to call it.
Mass, whatever you want. Yeah, mass because it's predominantly Catholic, right? So go to mass and pray and so forth, and boom. I mean, I don't hate to do that, but boom, you get there's tax. But it's interesting that how we saw these things work out. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I turn on the TV, nothing. No channel, nothing. Oh, okay. See CNN, Sri Lanka attack. Well, it's in my phone. It's in a news report. Where's the coverage that it should have gotten, like New Zealand got? Okay, you had not one building, you had seven.
Seven buildings
simultaneously in a coordinated attack that were bombed. You have over 300 people dead, 500 injured, and all I saw I don't know if reports came out later because we were also celebrating Easter that day, so I don't know if reports came out later on TV and so forth, but for those first few hours, nothing. But New Zealand, because it was a white nationalist and attacked a Muslim mosque. Oh man, worldwide media coverage. Well, I couldn't say worldwide. I'm just saying national white media coverage on that white nationalist. He was influenced by the president. He praises the president. Poor Muslims, but yeah, of course, poor Muslims. They were butchered. I mean, I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the lack of coverage. Why is it that the 7 Christian churches did not get the same attention that the Muslim mosque attack in New Zealand got? Mm-hmm. And furthermore, which is my ultimate pet peeve of this situation, are the tweets by Clinton, former Secretary of State Clinton, former President Barack Obama, and certain other prominent Democrat politicians and ex-politicians who called the attack on Easter worshipers. Can anybody? What is that?
I don't know.
What's an Easter worshiper? Why?
I don't know who they are. Who's an Easter worshiper?
It's funny because
I know Easter was a saint.
Because I remember when the New Zealand attacks, they clearly called out Muslims and the Muslim victims. That was there. Mm-hmm. But when it came to this attack, it was Easter worshipers. Like, what is an Easter worshiper?
That's true. If you look at the tweets, former President Barack Obama and many other Democratic leaders said Easter worshipers, which is offensive to every Christian believer because they're not just summarized by the celebration of a certain holiday or a certain religious holy day, right? We don't call Muslims Ramadan worshipers, or we don't say Jews are Passover worshipers, or we don't say Buddhists are whatever holy day they celebrate type of worshipers.
Right.
We say Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, and so on and so forth. But when it came to Christianity, they suppressed the word Christian or Christians, and they use a different term to not allude to it.
Right.
And there's an interesting report that we saw, reporting from the New York Times, that said that it shows that the media and a lot of politicians do not want to admit and recognize that a lot of Christian believers are being under attack and harassed in foreign countries, predominantly by Muslims. Yeah, and in that article, which we'll have the link below, this is from the LA Times. This is not from the New York Times.
New York Times, okay.
Sorry, the New York Times, saying that they don't want to recognize the lack of recognition within the left and the Democratic Party of the attacks of what's going on with Christians around the world, especially when they're being attacked by Muslim believers or extreme Muslim terrorists, right? So in this case, like Eddie said, there was not that much media coverage. We haven't talked about it much other than just mentioned it and did what it is. Even to the point that some news people said that the right and conservatives and Christians took the Easter worshipers comment out of context. Yeah, that they're overreacting. Yeah. But honestly, that's disrespectful, right? Just like the media would be angry if we would say, oh, they, in New Zealand, they attacked Ramadan worshippers. Our prayers out to Ramadan worshippers.
Yeah, it's like
you wouldn't accept it. It would be racist. It would be considered Islamophobic and so on and so forth.
It's like
right?
the attack in Pittsburgh with
the Jewish community.
Yeah, it's like look,
Zionist worshippers.
Zionist worshippers, all those people that wear the little hats. I'm like it's kind of that. But there was this report that I remember talking to you about this. It was written by Christian. I can't even say this last name. But Christian
from where?
I'm getting to it. It was an article sent from Reason. I think it's an opinion piece. But he says that we took, like you said, the things out of context. Like we went all crazy because we called them Eastern worshipers, and it's like, well, you should already know. You should already be under the assumption that that Eastern worshipers are Christians. Yes, we know that. True. Why not just say it?
Yeah, why not say the word Christians?
And then in the same article saying, well, I don't know why you're not going after President Trump. Well, President Trump didn't say Christians. He just says 308 people died. Yeah. Okay, first of all, he did not state a lie. 300.
Said the facts.
He said the facts. The facts of the case that people died, but he did not say 300 and what is the two? Well, at the time was like 100 and something. 138 Easter worshipers died. Had President Trump said that, I'm like, bro, seriously.
Yeah. So the president, like this gentleman said, that the president didn't say if they were Christians, but he did state the facts. If the media would have said 300 people died in a terrorist attack in Sri Lanka, that would have been fine, right? That would have been fine. If Obama and Hillary Clinton and all Democratic leadership would have said, we feel for the people who were attacked in Sri Lanka. We pray for the families that suffered that loss. We're with them. That's fine, right? But the fact that they replaced Christians
with Eastern worshipers just makes no sense. Like why?
It's disrespectful.
It is disrespectful because it's something that we praise the resurrection, right? For me, I just went through 40 days of giving up a certain fast, right?
Lent and all
that. I don't know what your denomination does.
We did 21 days of fasting.
21 days of fasting, but.
So it's just like
we go through this, right? We're trying to portray that self-sacrifice ourselves through either Lent or your 21 days, and then to be just called at the end an Easter worshiper. No, dude, we're in our own way, going to church, to basically relive the resurrection and the redemption of our sins and so forth. And you had a terrorist attack. Oh, yeah, the Easter worshipers. Like, no, dude, we're not some crazy cult or something like that. It's Christians. Christians. We've been around for 2,000 years.
And it's a large population of Christian believers out here in the world.
Lord have
We're a major religious organization, but religious religion.
This is the trend that I'm seeing. Muslims being attacked, worldwide news. Nigeria attacks on Christians by Muslims, zero to little news. 7 churches attacked, 0 to little news, right? Little to 0 news. I should say about that backwards, but it's like, why? Well, where is this coming from? Like, why is it so hard? And even our own people here, like,
and like allude back to that New York Times article that says they don't want to recognize the fact that Christians are under attack. They don't want to recognize it. They don't want to make a big deal out of it because their focus is on the Muslim attacks and the Islamophobic rhetoric.
Yeah,
and not so much the white nationalists, right? They don't want to recognize that Christians around the world are being attacked and killed on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll conclude with the Sri Lanka report.
So prayers to the families that were affected by the attacks. You will recover from this. It will take time. This is a horrible act. It's awful. I mean, to go to church and...
We condemn any terrorist attack of innocent lives, of any lives whatsoever. Here in Talk, we condemn all any terrorist attack, whether it be from white nationalists or radical Islamists or radical Christians or radical Buddhists. Any type of terrorist attack, is condemned by us here at Talk. And in order to avoid such attacks in the future, we have to discuss the problems. And like Eddie just mentioned, people were forewarned. And that leads for a different discussion later down the road about all these forewarnings. What is our law enforcement actually doing to prevent this? And what is the reasonable legal procedure or legal way of going about it? Do we just shut down people, arrest people without committing a crime? What is it? We don't want to have what's that one movie that They arrest you before you even commit a crime.
Oh, Minority Report.
Minority Report. We want to avoid a Minority Report state, but we also want to be able to have enough.
I think we already have
strategy.
We already have a Minority Report.
We already have a Minority Report already?
Yeah, well, Trump was guilty for 2 years. Trump was guilty for 2 years with no evidence, no nothing.
He was guilty.
He was guilty
the whole time. That's right. But that's something we're going to discuss later down in MM Talk. Sorry. Please let us know your comments, your beliefs about the Sri Lanka attack. Like Eddie says, our sympathies and our prayers and our hearts go out to the families, our fellow Christian believers who are attacked, and all Christian believers and any religious people who are attacked or harassed for the religious belief. Our prayers out to you guys. May God protect you. May God comfort you in your time of loss there in Sri Lanka. May you recover from this, and may God comfort you in this loss. Right. There's no words we can say to comfort, but we're with you in prayer, and
you will bounce back. You will be okay.
Amen.
But
on another news, Miss Ohmar.
I should have a segment that says, "What does she say now?"
Yeah, we should have a segment just on the new face of the Democratic Party.
Oh my God!
Because these 5 women say the most ridiculous things every time we turn around.
So, does anybody know the background of Representative Ilhan Ohmar?
Isn't she Somali?
She's Somali.
Okay.
Does anybody know?
Came to the United States,
Came to the United States as a refugee. Why?
Because of Somalia is it's pretty much non-existent state.
It's a failed state.
Yeah, it's a failed state.
They have a transitional government, but anyway.
No, it doesn't even count. It doesn't even count.
I must stick to the facts. The facts state that they have a transitional.
Well, yeah, they call it transitional government, but in reality, Somalia is divided. There's civil wars. There's factions. There's warlords. So it's terrible in Somalia.
Representative Ohmar came as a U.S. refugee. as a Somali refugee to the United States.
Ta-da, America!
And then over the weekend. Where is it at?
So she's a Somali refugee, became a U.S. citizen, and ran for Congress.
Congress, right?
And she is the face of the new Democratic Party, the progressive, and the champion of women's rights and representation in the most diverse Congress ever.
So over the weekend, they were talking about. She talked about the Black Hawk Down incident. Okay,
Have you seen the movie?
Yeah, that's what they call it, the Battle of Mogadishu. And where she clearly stated that the United States should take into consideration the thousands of Somalis that were killed during that raid. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's funny and it's frustrating because they were sent there to help the UN peacekeeping force. Right?
I'm sorry. So, Representative Ohmar is saying...
Representative Ohmar, we send U.S. troops to your failed state to help you guys out. And we're trying to capture those that are responsible for creating all the chaos.
Yeah, the warlords and all that.
And because they attacked U.S. soldiers, we should reflect on the thousands of Somalis that we killed. 19 of our soldiers died during this raid. I think they were over.
It's a rescue, no?
No, it was an extraction of certain warlord officials.
Yeah, okay, it was an extraction. Yeah, that's right.
Mohammed Fahara Aidid, if I remember, I think that's his name, the warlord. And then they were supposed to they were trying to get members of his cabinet, so forth, and they got him, and right. So that was the whole raid. And then the whole Black Hawk Down incident takes place, right?
So you watch the movie, you'll see it.
You see the depiction of the incident. But she says that U.S. soldiers are trying to bring order to your country, right? They're trying to get those responsible. We enter into a battle. I don't know if she noticed this, but in a battle, people will die.
Yeah. Like in any shootout.
So 19 U.S. soldiers died. I think that it is like over 1,000 Somalis died. But why should we be held accountable for that, or why should we feel sorry for that? And furthermore, why are you not grateful that U.S. soldiers went to your failed country to basically try to save it, right? And you come out with that asinine comment that we should also take into account that we also killed over 1,000 Somalis in that raid.
Did we kill 1,000 Somalis in that raid?
That was the. I think so. I think it was over. I would have to look into it, but it was like over. Yeah, it was a large number. Because you understand, we went with warbirds and all that, like 50 cal guns and all that stuff.
Yeah, explosives, bombs.
All that stuff, right?
So we did kill Somalis in that extraction because they were attacking us.
Hello.
So it's a war. It's a battle.
It's
so
a battle,
we shoot, you shoot, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, so you shoot, we shoot. You know, we suffered
Right.
19 losses. They suffered 1,000.
They suffered 1,000. So
It's not like we killed 1,000 innocent
It's
lives.
not. Yeah, it's not like we rounded up, but it's just Ilhan Ohmar. Like, why do you speak? Why do you speak? Like, look.
So she wants the U.S. to do what? To feel sorry for
nothing.
them? To be held responsible for the
she said
killing?
like you can talk about, and there was another comment, I forget who said it. It's like Ilhan Ohmar is the first U.S. representative to watch Black Hawk Down and root for the other side. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. With this, I should really have a whole show dedicated to Ilhan Omar and the fresh faces, like you said, and all these asinine tweets they make. Because I'm like, what are you talking about? You came to the United States from the country we went to go help out, and then your gratitude to say, well, you should take account all the Somalis you killed. And I'm like,
yeah, I should feel bad for that. Really, we try to save your country. The UN
and it's not
couldn't
even
do
like you
anything
said,
about
it's not
it.
even random Somalis. They were militia.
There were soldiers.
No, they're militia. Yeah, okay.
Armed men, militia. There were militia that were, fighting wars, and we went out there to extract these leaders.
Right.
And these militia who are trained to attack an enemy or shoot at an enemy, whether it be the U.S. or another Somali warlord group, they kill each other, right? So it's not like the United States killed innocent lives. They killed actually militiamen.
Right.
Men who were shooting at U.S. soldiers. So U.S. soldiers shot back. Right, attacked back. So it's kind of like hello. That's what a war is, right? That's what a battlefield is. So Ilhan, Representative Omar's comment about that
strikes again
is just dumb.
It's ungrateful, really. Like you came from there, and basically your claim to Congress. I don't even know I don't even know how you won your seat because I didn't even follow your election.
Large number of Somalis.
Oh, is that what it is? A large number of Somalis in her district? Oh, okay. And I'm like, so you basically have no experience. You're a refugee. You're an immigrant. You had a bad life. And the way you thank us is by creating a diss, as they say today, to those 19 brave men who helped you out. Or your countrymen, I should say. I don't know if you were...
Mass media, you guys are overhyping these women so much that it's just ridiculous the way these women are hyped up. I mean, we congratulate Ilhan Omar for being a Muslim in Congress. We congratulate her for that. We congratulate her that she's a woman of color and a minority. Congratulations, she's in there. But sometimes what comes out of the mouth isn't as smart, or like we said in our podcast here before, if Ilhan Omar was Republican and made those comments, she would be shamed, right? But since she's a Democrat, and she makes those kind of comments, she gets away with it with like, well, we won't cover it as much, or you know what, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah, and Nancy, here I go again. Representative Blue's gonna be like, it's just how she communicates.
Really? Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So, but that's your Democratic Party for you,
the fresh faces of Congress.
I'm fed up with this woman. But anyways, I seriously, I think I'm just gonna dedicate a part of the show to be like, what did she say now?
What did one of the great 5 women of impact or whatever have said this week, right?
But with that, people, let me know what you guys think about it. If you look at those comments, just comment below. What do you guys think? I mean, am I over exaggerating? It just upsets me when I read these tweets and I see that a Somali refugee is ungrateful of what we do. But leave your comments below. So far, just let us know. But we're gonna turn to our own home state of California,
the Golden State.
The Golden State, and our impending gas price doomsday. So
we're going broke in California.
Fifth largest economy. The governor has time to go to El Salvador and take a trip to learn about what we can do as the 5th largest economy to help illegal migrants in our country, with the exception of taking them into our sanctuary cities.
Oh yeah, that's right. President Donald Trump, like we said last week, they wanted to drop them off here in California because we are a sanctuary state. But the governor Newsom said that is childish.
So, anyways,
he said no, pretty much.
He now wants to conduct an investigation on the oil industries here, correct? Because he wants to know what is causing gas prices to almost hitting $5 a gallon. And I am like, okay, first of all, Prop 6. Thanks for all.
Yeah.
First
you forgot about that? We literally voted to increase our taxes on gas.
Tax regulations.
And to increase DMV fees.
And so that.
Thanks, California.
That and then
Democrats.
Environmental regulations that have to, that oil producing industries and their refineries have to abide by with. And then we also heard about that the refineries in Carson and Torrance were under maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
no, there was a fire in 2015.
And there was a fire in 2015.
There was a fire in 2015 with Carson. So pretty much this is what's going on, right? Yeah. So Governor Newsom says gas prices are exceedingly high. Exaggerating high. Depending on where you live, you're either paying $4 and some change for gas, or you're paying $5 a gallon for gas. So wherever you live at, if you're paying $5 a gallon of gas, I feel sorry for you. But then you live in LA, which is a overtly liberal city and county. So, that's what you get for, anyways. That's a whole different issue.
LA, we can't even laugh at the people in LA, though. You know what upsets me? I can't even be mad at the people in LA.
Why?
Because do you really even need a car in LA?
Yeah, they do. They use a lot of cars.
I mean, do you really need one, though? With a lot of public transportation.
That's right. I forgot. Public transportation, like the train, the bus, and Ubers.
Ubers and Lyft and so forth. But anyways, so that's not where I'm having an issue. The issue is like people like us, Jaime. The people that, like I said it when we talked about Prop 6 last year, is people that commute everywhere. I mean, for here in the Inland Empire, you have to commute to go to your nearest grocery store. You have to commute to go to your dog. You have to commute everywhere. In LA, you can just literally take the bus, you get in all that stuff.
Down the street.
But out here in the Inland Empire, you have to commute everywhere. So it hurts us where people like from us, like you might go to LA, I might go to San Diego, stuff like that. The distance, you think gas is cheap? $5 a gallon, man, So
Governor Newsom says that there's something going on, something suspicious. Their fees are too high. It's too high to pay gas. Something's going on.
Gas is too damn high.
So yes, pretty much 70%.
I'm gonna start the party now. The gas is too damn high party.
California gas is too high. California is the state with the highest gas prices in the nation. The average gas price is $2.85. Average. This entire country average is $2.85. In California, we're at $4.23, $4 straight. $4.35. Between $4 and $5.10.
And it's said that by June it will reach the $5 mark, right? For everybody.
So for the rest of us in California who don't live in the major cities, we might end up paying $5, close to $5 by summer. So analysts looked at it, and the first thing that came out of their mouths was gas tax. The gas tax sums up 70% of that increase, the gas tax, which we voted for in Prop 6 to
Who's we?
Fix.
Can you stop saying we?
Not me and you. But you, California, voted to increase the gas tax to fix the roads. All right? To fix the roads, which we already have a budget in our general fund
surplus
just to fix the roads, okay? All right? Through Caltrans, okay? But yet we're like, you know what? We need to get more money. So let's increase the gas tax, and, to fix the road, to actually fix the roads, because we need the roads to be fixed. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. I mean, I get it, but it's not going to work. If we have a budget, like you said, of surplus, we have funds that go straight to street and sidewalk and infrastructure. Why do we have to get more money for it?
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. The bullet train, waste of money.
Well, that was canceled.
That was canceled. Okay?
Which you might as well finish it. All that money that was spent already.
That. So that money could have been diverted, to other whatever, and
You could bring it to the roads.
bring it to the roads, right? We talked about last week how just LA pays 1.3 billion in services to illegal aliens. How does LA even have 1.3 billion dollars within 2 years? I don't know, but they do. They have all that.
They found it. They found a bag in the street.
But and LA has a homeless crisis. We looked at the homeless crisis in freaking San Francisco, right? Where they talk about how they had the map where fecal matter was found in every part of the city. I'm not kidding, folks. San Francisco with this map looks like one gigantic turd.
It does. One big piece of turd.
So
the county and city of San Francisco.
So all these problems we're having, we have a budget surplus. We can't fix the roads. You want to tax. Nothing is happening. Yet we're still suffering. You said we're almost to $5 a gallon. I'm like...
We still have a lot of crises here in California.
And the governor has the audacity and asks, what is going on?
So part of that is the gas tax. Another part of it is regulations in California.
Yeah.
A lot of emission regulations in California. Also, all those fees and dues and all that stuff to offset carbon and so on and so forth.
I heard...
accounts for that 70% of the increase.
I don't know if you had this in your article, but I heard that one of the reasons gas is so high too is because the way that gas has to be produced here is not the way it's produced in other states because of the carbon emissions. But the way it has to be refined here, that costs a lot more money, hence the higher gas tax prices, which, that makes sense.
That's part of the 70%.
Jesus, man.
Okay, so that's part of the 70% bulk. Now, the other 30% that we're still trying to figure out what's going on, we don't know. So we'll see what the Commission on Energy, right, says about that.
The California Commission of Energy.
Yeah, California Commission of Energy is going to investigate where that 40%...
30.
Or 30%, sorry. 30% is coming from. Why that 30% is even there when it comes to the high prices of gasoline. So we'll see what the report comes out. But to me, it would be taxes and the regulations here in California.
Yeah, that's what really...
I mean, that's 70% of the bulk. I mean, what's the other 40%? 30%. That'd be what?
I don't know, dude.
Destination fee, handling, delivery.
Yeah, there's the transportation, maybe. Processing,
delivering, which you said was transportation.
Yeah, because I heard some refineries have to import the oil because they don't. But it's even that, the way that it has to be transported and all that here, it's.
And then refined here.
Dude, if 70%, right? If 70% is taxes alone, you have your answer.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like Governor Newsom's gonna be like, well, it's this right here. It's transportation fees. We must attack transportation fees. That's the way we lower the cost. No,
he's not gonna do that.
Well, no, I'm just saying. He's gonna point to some asinine revelation. And instead of saying what the real problem is, like, no, you see, the problem is that oil companies are actually not abiding by our regulations, and therefore blah 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 blah. No, dude, it's
trying to take money. And you know what's interesting too? Even when the KTLA and New York Times and ABC and all those local news outlets here in California, especially Southern California,
right?
They interview people, right? They're like, gas prices. What do you think? Out of all the people that have asked that question, on camera, they're like, well, just they're trying to hurt the working class, and you're trying to milk us. Wait a minute, but they were blaming the oil companies. It was one woman who was actually smart. She was like, you know what? It's the taxes here in California. We're being taxed to death here in California, and that's why we're paying so much high on gas prices and the cost of living. I was like, oh my God, out of all the people who was interviewed, one woman was smart enough to say the truth. Everyone else just blamed the oil companies, just like Newsom is trying to do here.
A little tangent here. I think the American Revolution started over a 3% tax.
Yeah, tax increase.
Tax increase. We're increased. I don't know what
that's how we became an independent country.
We're at 8% tax on just sales tax alone.
All right, and don't count in the 12 cents per gallon increase, plus another 12 cents down the road.
And which is why I'm following this guy's advice to get my rewards card and my local gas station. Start getting their points.
Get rewards points with Shell or your local gas station or whoever you gas with, whether it be Sam's, Costco, or it could be one of those fuel stations that gives rewards. Get the rewards. You're paying that much money for gas. At least get some discount. At least 5 cents discount to start with, right?
Yeah, I know, yeah. But
so California, our gases are too high. Do you agree with the prices? Obviously, no. But do you still stand by the decision to increase gas tax? Let us know.
And join me with the inauguration of the gas is too damn high party. I'm just kidding. Gas is too damn high party.
We will let you know about the first meeting. Stay tuned for that.
Oh my God, it's
California is literally the highest. I think I met someone at the gas station a couple of days ago who was from Colorado, traveling to visit family. He came out here, he was like, "You guys are damn stupid." That's all he said, and I was like, "Why? Look at your gas prices. You guys are ridiculous out here." And that was the conversation.
I think I had somebody from. I just came from Arizona. $1.99.
Oh my God, $1.99!
I haven't seen a $1 sign in California in about 10 years.
More than that, I guess, right?
I'm
True. We haven't seen a dollar sign.
I think the last time I saw a dollar sign in California is when President Bush, George W. Bush, opened, I guess, the reserves. He started flowing the reserves, and I think that's when we saw it to $1.99, and that was for the 87 gas, right? So that's the cheapest gas. So $2.19 at the time was premium. Now we're at double that.
Double
in 10 years. Lord have mercy.
So California, what's going on with us here in California? We're supposed to be this state is so blue that you would think we would have an easy way of life out here. Yeah. We can't even survive. So let us know what you think about the gas prices. Let us know. If you want to cuss out the governor, cuss him out. You can do it anyways because, he's a public official. But Governor Newsom wants to investigate why is gas so high.
Start with
the answer's in his face. But he wants still find something else. Just like the Mueller report.
Yeah, he wants to know the facts.
He wants to know the true investigation.
It's true investigation. But all right. So let us move on to Mr. Joe Biden. Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe. With this tactile style politics.
Get too comfortable with the answer.
So Joe Biden will be running for the 2020 presidential election. We haven't seen the announcement yet. We haven't seen the video. But we will see it soon, and we will talk to you about it next week. But we do want to say that now that Joe Biden's in the picture and running for president, what do you think is going to happen with the candidates?
Okay, so my prediction is this. Joe Biden's first day announcing it's going to be good. And I think I agree with Shapiro on this, Ben Shapiro. Every day after that, it's going to stink.
Why?
Well, first of all, Bernie Sanders is leading the pack just on fundraising alone.
True.
Fundraising alone, he's leading the pack.
The socialist.
But Bernie Sanders also represents the new wave of Democrats, which is what I'm talking about. There was an interview. Now I'm going to talk about another fresh face. AOC, right? AOC, she was asked, what do you think about a Joe Biden presidential run? And she says, I'm not excited about it. I'm not too excited about it. I'll support him if he wins. I'll support any Democrat, whoever wins. But I'm not excited about Joe Biden because Joe Biden represents the past. I don't want to live there no more. The Obama era past is done. I want to move on. And to move on, and with her point of view, there's only one candidate.
Bernie Sanders.
Another
Democratic socialist.
I'm thinking, if you're asking me right now, who will be the top three? I know Biden's going to be there. Harris and Sanders.
Those three.
Why
not Miss
Pocahontas?
Yeah, that Senator Warren.
Senator Warren, first of all, it's like her fundraising has plummeted. Okay. Second of all, she also wants to impeach the president on no ground. So she's talking about.
What about Buttigieg?
I forget. Yeah, he's gaining traction. I think he's ahead of Warren, actually.
Oh yeah, he's ahead of Warren.
He's ahead of Warren.
I think I saw that too, but I just don't remember.
Yeah, ever since that he had that town hall, I think he's
gotten the CNN town hall.
The CNN town hall. He's gotten a lot of traction, but mainly because you're also starting to see disparities between the candidates. Like We're gonna get into it in a second when we talk about the CNN town hall, right? But let's stick to Joe Biden.
Well, let's put those together.
Let's put it together.
Let's put the CNN town hall and Joe Biden together because Joe Biden would have to answer those comments.
Those questions. So
yeah.
So
Joe Biden announced, right? He's running for president. Yeah. He is the part of the moderate Democrats. The interesting thing, though, they have to know is that he announced in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you would tell me he was announcing in
Pittsburgh? He's announced in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia because you remember Pennsylvania went red, which is traditionally a blue state, so it flipped in the 2016 election. Pennsylvania is known for its industry, steel, pretty much steel. The Pittsburgh Steelers, for goodness sake, right? So since that working class state, that working class state turned red in 2016 because of the promises of President Trump, Joe Biden thinks that by announcing there, he can switch the state to blue in 2020.
Yeah.
The problem is that Joe Biden has left the state of Pennsylvania when he was young. I think he was like 8 or 9 years old, I guess. And he grew up, which is the state that he represents, is Delaware.
Okay.
Right? So he grew up Delaware. So he's not really a true Pittsburgh native.
Not true Pennsylvanian.
Yeah, Pennsylvanian, sorry. I mean, yeah, he might have been there when he was young, but he left at such a young age that he didn't really grow up to be.
If he's starting to announce there, it's
a political move.
It's a political move. He wants to start a battleground state, right? State, so he could be viewed as tough. Like you can understand that he's not coming in pretty late, but you can already tell who's holding the lead.
Yeah, based on polls.
Based on polls, and you'll know that's Sanders.
Actually, Biden is winning. Sanders is second on the polls.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so Democrats...
Oh, I'm thinking fundraising. I'm sorry.
Fundraising. Sanders is winning.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Biden was leading in some polls, yes.
What's it called? The approval ratings, approval polls. What do they call them?
I forgot.
The polls.
The polls.
Yeah. In the polls, Joe Biden is winning at 27% among Democrat voters. And Sanders at 25 or 26, behind him.
That's too close.
23.
Still too close. It's too close.
So it's close.
But what I'm saying, when you get to the debates or you start getting closer to the caucuses, right, you're going to start seeing the separation. And
Can you see that?
Sure, yeah. You start seeing that Sanders represents what the new face of the Democrats are. It's obvious in the town halls, for crying out loud. Dude. Let's talk about Sanders and the right for felons to vote.
Oh yeah, so that was an interesting conversation.
They asked Sanders, what do you feel? Why do you feel felons should vote? And they're like, well, it's a fundamental right. Senator Harris went, well, we should talk about it. The mayor, Buttigieg said, heck no.
He straight out said no. So Sanders said that voting is a fundamental right. Right? Fundamental right for everybody. We agree.
Yeah.
But he went to the point that he says that even if you're in prison, you have the fundamental right.
Oh, Scranton,
yeah. A fundamental right to vote. So if you're a felon, convicted felon, or you're just serving time for whatever crimes you committed, or whatever thing you made, you're doing jail time, you can vote while in jail. Bernie Sanders believes that, and he stands by it, and he proposes that if you're in jail doing time, you should be able to vote as well.
Right, and then of course with Biden, you had the Obama justice reform thing going on, and then you had...
Well, they didn't really do much.
Exactly.
Reform.
They didn't.
So they tried, but they didn't.
They tried. So
justice reform came right. The most recent justice reform, small but still an attempt, was the one done by President Trump.
Exactly.
With
so
the
you have the fails,
and
then you have, like I said, you have Bernie Sanders saying, well, everybody should vote. It's a fundamental right.
We agree, but not for felons or not for ex-felons, but people doing time. So here in MM Talk, we disagree that if you're in prison, you have the right to vote.
Yeah, well, we do that, but it's the kind of things that you will not see Joe Biden saying, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That the left has gone extreme left. That comments like... Because Joe Biden is also known to reach across the aisle and try to work with people across the aisle.
He's moderate.
So that's nothing you're seeing with these new faces. So when you're getting close to the caucuses, you're getting closer to the debates, they're going to be like, well, he's willing to work with the other side, and the other side is not even willing to acknowledge the issues. Like, we need to be hard on these issues. We need to be hardliners. You know, and then he's going to get ridiculed for that. Like, I mean, you're getting ridiculed by Ilhan Ohmar, AOC, Senator Harris, every time a Republican says something. Every time it's like, oh, no, they don't get it. They don't get it. Why work with them? They don't get it. On certain issues, we don't have to be we have to be bipartisan. On the majority of issues, you guys don't get it.
Yeah.
Climate change, you don't get it. This, and that. So when you have somebody like Joe Biden, he doesn't fit that
new wave.
That new wave. He doesn't fit the new way, and that's going to be his problem. That's going to be his problem. When you have people like Sanders saying everybody should have the right to vote. Well, I say to you, Senator, should everybody in prisons also have guns? That is also a fundamental right. But anyway, subject to another discussion. It's a thing you have to consider. Like, how is Joe Biden going to basically appeal himself with this new wave of Democrats? That's the question that we're going to have to see, because right now I'm not seeing him succeeding. I'm not seeing him succeed. I have to see how he starts his campaign. For me, he's going to have to go...
His approach to all this idea.
He's going to have to go to left, stick to the left. For him, not even center left, just left is going to be the new center left. And then because if you go and what's going to stink is as the debates come about, he's going to go more left, right? So the Sanders, Ocasio, all those left wingers over there. So moderate left is no longer a safe spot. So that's that's his home base. So bye bye. And how's he gonna do that?
Maybe the Democrats and the majority of Democrats are moderates, and the media is focusing so much on these.
That's the thing.
Progressive.
When you look at
extreme leftists,
right.
You know, making a big deal because the media does it a lot, right? They take something small and they make a big deal out of it, right?
Right.
When it's not the reality, because we understood the mistake they made in the 2016 election.
Right.
Could it be that in this case, the media is portraying these progressive women who are extremely left? Even Mr. Sanders was extremely left, as like, oh, this new way, this new idea, this revolution, right?
Right.
But in reality, majority of voters are more moderate. The polls say that a large majority of Americans are moderate.
How do I put it to you this way? The old Democrats are too right for the new left.
Yeah, but like I said, maybe that new left is such a small faction.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Okay.
It won't produce such a big effect.
But it's too powerful of a faction, though. That's what I keep saying this.
It's too loud, right?
It's too loud. Yeah, it's too loud because every time, for crying out loud, the woman is smashing soldiers in Mogadishu, and she's like, "That's okay. Next week I'll have something worse."
Yeah, it's true.
AOC.
So they're getting away with stuff.
Yeah, AOC challenges a war vet, and tells her, "What have you done for terrorism?"
Oh, yeah. A war vet who fought in Afghanistan.
Senator Sanders just won't apologize for writing a book.
That's true.
And I'm like, but these fresh faces have such a stronghold, and it's because of the way politics is done now. Just look at President Trump. Every hour, the president has a tweet. There's free access and free media for politicians now that it's like the old way doesn't count anymore. Freaking AOC does live feeds on her Instagram while she's building. Was she building a coffee table or something?
I don't follow her.
Well, yeah. She was talking about. She was drinking wine and popcorn. She's like, I drink wine and popcorn, building my coffee table. But just stuff like that. Twitter.
Oh my God, that's
Twitter.
boring.
Instagram, Facebook, all that free media. You don't have to pay millions and millions of dollars anymore. Now you can give out your message. Right?
Yeah,
like we're doing
direct.
We're not paying for we don't pay for studio time. It's easy now. Internet connection, microphone, couple computers, camera. We're giving out a message.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, by the way. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's that.
So yeah. So going back to that. So maybe we'll see in the 2020 election, right? Because I said, the media made a mistake in 2016, saying that 95% sure that Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidential election.
That was like 99% of the media.
Yeah, well, according to them, yeah, it was not. There was no way Trump was going to be president. Even the sitting president at the time was 100% sure he wasn't going to win, right?
Rosie O'Donnell was like, no.
Yeah, so we know that the media was wrong, right? So maybe they're making the same mistake now, and they haven't learned from the past. So we'll see how that plays out.
Okay,
right?
we'll see. But if you're asking me right now, it's Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden is too right for this new wave of left.
True, I do agree. Yeah, he's too right wing.
So we'll see. And I'm not saying that Joe Biden is a right wing. I'm just saying in the
spectrum.
In the spectrum, Joe Biden's right here. AOC, Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris is like right here. Bernie Sanders, AOC, and everybody else is like right over here.
You can't even see him on the screen.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So let me move that. Yeah.
So
right over there.
This is Bernie.
That's
Biden.
That's Biden. Here's Harris. Right. Here's Harris.
Harris is here.
And all the way over here is freaking AOC, Bernie Sanders, and everybody else.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
But also, another interesting observation is that a lot of things that the Democrats are saying now, Bernie Sanders was saying in 2016. Like free college,
but Bernie
free tuition. And he proposed that, and everyone made fun of him.
Right.
We even made fun of him. Like, really?
Well,
free college?
And that's where I give Senator Sanders.
Maybe Sanders' comment about... Do you think that Sanders' comment about, people in prison doing their time, having the right to vote while in prison, do you think that people are gonna change their views on that and then actually move forward with that idea in the next election cycle, on the next wave of liberals?
There's beyond that one, there's other obscure ideas that I won't even mention.
Yeah, beyond that, there's other ideas too.
But
what I'm saying is that Bernie Sanders is the one who proposed these ideas before the Democrats embraced it. As their own,
2016, yeah.
Right? So Bernie Sanders was the first one, was the first one to say
I see where you're going.
Free college.
I see where you're going.
For everybody.
I see where you're going.
Right?
It's going to become more of a common trend with the
because
Democratic platform.
He set this tone back then.
Yeah.
Now everyone's embracing his ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
Because now you don't have a Clinton. This is what I'm trying to say. Now you don't have a Clinton. Clinton today is still too far right for Sanders, AOC, and the new Democratic base.
Yeah, but that's interesting. But that's interesting, though. Even though that's true that Clinton was too far right, Sanders, even within the Democratic Party, he was too extreme, too left, too socialist.
Yeah, but that's 4 years ago.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that he set the stage 4 years ago for what we're talking about now.
Yeah, but we're talking about it, and it's going to become more common.
So, do you think he's going to do the same thing now to set the stage 4 years from now?
No, he's going to do the same thing now. And it's going to become more of a common topic 4 years from now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, you are going to go...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you are going to see that trend. You're correct, sir.
He's setting the stage now for 4 years. We'll be discussing that.
It's interesting.
Real policy.
Interesting you bring that up. I was listening to the radio and somebody had called in. This is interesting you even mentioned this because I remember this. And this caller said exactly the same thing. I don't know if you were the caller now.
It wasn't me.
But he said, he's thinking that the Democrats are playing the long game. Because even if they don't win in 2020, people like Sanders, Harris, Booker,
AOC.
I'm not even talking about Beto.
Oh, who? Who? The DUI guy?
They're setting up platforms of what the new Democratic Party is going to look like. Voter surveillance, free tuition, free healthcare, no student debt, reparations.
Hey, I like the no student debt. Only because I have student loans myself.
I know.
But still.
I know. But they also want free college.
Okay,
that's a bad idea. But I think you are correct, and I think that caller also pointed it too, that the Democrats right now are just perhaps even just playing the long game. The long game where they're going to say, this is what the Democratic Party is going to stand for, right? So, immigration, free college, forgive student loan debt, free healthcare.
New Green Deal,
healthcare. By the way, it's free when you use it, but you're going to pay taxes to it.
That's what Sanders said.
But those are the stuff. So I think your view of that is correct. I think even if they don't win, you're going to see more and more and more of this. Because, like you said, Sanders said it in 2016, and credit to him, he has not changed it for 2020. So
and the same thing, but
even in 2016, it got a lot of traction. It got a lot of traction in 2016
with the students and the younger guys.
With the younger, and but then
actually, Hillary stole the primaries from him, but.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's
to the point of the primaries.
Before Hillary started stealing his delegates.
The traction was with the young folks, which now you have the fresh faces, because they're within that age range too. They're not that. I mean, at least AOC. I don't know how old.
Well, she's our age. She's a millennial, just like us.
Yeah, but I was thinking about Omar. I don't know how old Omar is.
Oh, she's probably the same age. But no, she has to be older because Ocasio-Cortez is the youngest. Omar can't be the youngest.
Right.
She's the youngest.
Right. So, therefore, I'm like, okay, yeah.
So I think and I think that's where I'm going. I think
I agree with you. I 100%.
So I
agree
think
with
what
you.
the Republicans need to do is think long term as well and long term messaging. And then with the Republican Party has had a lot of trouble with that messaging.
Republican Party has a
terrible messaging. Terrible. I'm sorry. Hire us. We'll help you with the messaging.
Yeah, seriously, because I'm like, you guys
because and that's true. That it even AOC mentioned it in one of her interviews too. That we're gonna put the ideas now for long-term effect, for long-term voter turnout,
and
that's strategic. And the Republicans need to embrace that strategy as well.
They can embrace that strategy.
Especially, sorry to cut you off. Especially that studies showed that the generation after us, we're the millennials, the generation after us, are going to be way more conservative than our generation.
You mean more liberal?
No, more conservative.
Really? Okay, because I saw.
I'll look at the reports. No, it's more conservative. You have to look it up. I'll actually look it up.
Send me that.
Don't quote me on this, but I remember reading that the generation behind us millennials between 1980, if you're born between if you're born before 97, I think is the millennial age.
Is it called post millennials?
I think it's post millennial. I forgot the age group.
Oh no.
But anyways,
okay.
Pretty much the kids graduating in a couple of years from now are gonna be more conservative than we are now because of the restructuring of the economy, the way people make money, jobs, education, spending, all that stuff. But I do remember reading that and I think I actually heard it in NPR, but I'll look for that. I'll look for that information.
Okay.
I made a statement. It's uncorroborated right now, but I will bring it up.
Yeah, it seems to me.
Yeah.
It's a little odd for me. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. It just seems a little odd for me, given the way that we talked about how when you think conservative, one of the fundamentals of being a conservative is strong religious ties. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to you about how.
But you don't have to be
no.
You have to be religious to be conservative.
No. I said it. That's what I said. One. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
It's not one of them. I said one. And you're starting to see a lot of church attendance go down. People who claim a certain faith go down. So forth. Even within the Hispanic community go down, which is something that I thought it wasn't, and because I was having discussion like I don't think that because just
by your phone.
Yeah. But that's going down. So I mean, you could be correct, but
excuse me.
When you see trends,
I'm so sorry.
When you see trends like that, I think we're going the opposite way. I could be totally wrong, but
I'll look for the report though.
Okay,
and I know that seems a little extreme, given like you said, given the trends.
Yeah.
But like I said, the media tends to exaggerate, oversell things. So it could be that the media is portraying a small segment, but not the full picture. I do apologize.
But also
allergy season, guys. Take your Claritin D.
But also, I think you have to give the Democrats credit because they're not in the position that Republicans are right now. The Republicans are thinking, especially with the Trump presidency, that here and now, what can we do here and now to make America great? Their strategy, right, is to implement policies that are going to work now, right now, and not set a platform for the long run. So you have that capability when you're in power, but when you're
not in power,
or not the majority, you can think long term. Okay, how do we change our strategy so we become more popular? We become basically we can take back the House, the Senate, and so forth. What are we going to sell?
I think Trump sold it really well with voters when he talked about jobs, bringing jobs back to the U.S.
Again,
fixing healthcare.
Candidate, not in power.
Yeah, candidate. Now that he's in power. A lot of his plans really haven't actually come about. Only through executive order has he over. So my question is, what is the Republican establishment?
What is the Republican establishment for that? First of all,
what are we doing for that, anyways?
I don't honestly. I can't look beyond right now. I can't. You're right. I can't. I don't know what is the answer to the New Green Deal. I mean, this is a good question. What is the Republicans' answer to the New Green Deal? What is the Republicans' answer to healthcare? We're still waiting on that one.
In one of the conferences, it was like, take your burgers. We made ourselves look like a fool in that. Or at least the party made themselves look like a fool.
No, but I'm saying, like, what is the answer to healthcare? Bernie
Sanders.
The
answer to healthcare is...
No, but Trump is like, we're going to have Trump care.
Reducing the cost.
Yeah. Well, where's the plan? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Where is the plan? Bernie Sanders is saying...
Free healthcare.
Free healthcare. It's going to be free when you use it, but you're going to be paying taxes. That's a plan. You already have a plan.
But that's an insurance policy. You pay insurance.
Yes, Jaime, I get it, but
It's like,
yes,
it's happened now.
I get what you're saying. I agree with you, but you see, by talking about it, you're the one talking on the issues.
Mm-hmm.
President, we're still waiting. We haven't heard nothing on. All we keep hearing right now is immigration reform, wall, national emergency,
and the collusion.
China,
a Mueller report.
No collusion, total vindication. Where's the plan? Where's Trump care and all that? I'm not saying that he's not working on it. I'm saying where's the plan? Because everybody else, where's the message? Because everybody else is messaging right now. And that's the problem you're having. Democrats don't have time to message. Republicans are in office, so they have to, we got to take care of this, we got to take care of that.
Well, they're in the Senate. They don't even have the majority anymore.
They don't have the majority anymore. So that's the thing, though. When you're on the ropes or when you're in power, there's two different things. When you're in the minority, different thing.
Yeah, true. When the Republicans were in power, they didn't do much to...
That's another thing that I'm upset about.
Yeah,
we control the House, we control the Senate, we have the White House, and nothing.
Nothing.
Except with, of course, the tax cuts and so forth, which is the...
But that was the only thing that passed.
I get you, but we still have border security issue. We still have no health care issue. We're still in with health care.
What are congressmen and senators doing? I mean, the Democrats
even now,
control the House. The only
thing that passed was talking about that small justice reform bill that was bipartisan.
Oh yeah, that was.
If you don't count that, then what has Congress really done in
4 years? Pretty much since the election of Trump, nothing. And that's our congressmen and senators. They do nothing but talk and talk and talk.
Paul Ryan didn't do nothing.
And no one did anything.
Pelosi's not doing nothing.
Pelosi's
what is she doing? She's losing power, really. That's all she's doing there. Yeah, she's losing power.
She's bringing power to the new left.
And
that's why Congress's approval rating is always lower than the president's.
Well,
it's like 1%, 2%, like it's in the single digits.
I don't even know what the approval rate for this Congress is, but I'm starting to feel. I don't think this is as bad as the what is it? The Do Nothing Congress. What was that 2008 or 2012?
I think it was 2012.
2012. The Do
2000?
No. Boehner was in power already. Was it
Boehner? Congress?
Was it Boehner? No, it wasn't Boehner. Was it Boehner?
That term is like just a general term for all Congress. Do nothing Congress. They don't do anything. They don't do nothing in Congress other than talk, and get nothing done.
But the fact is,
they get nothing done.
Was the 18th Congress? No. The 80th Congress. Yeah, that's the 80th Congress. Yeah, that's it right there. The Do Nothing Congress. No, it's not the 80th. I don't know. It was 2000. I can't recall when it was.
I'm glad the internet's back up.
Right?
The Do Nothing Congress.
I'm looking
up too. I don't think. That was just something that President Truman said.
That's what he said. Yeah, but I can't. Man. Anyways, the point is, Congress is not doing anything.
They don't do anything.
They don't do anything, which is a big advocate for term limits in Congress, but that's an issue for another day.
We believe in term limits for Congress.
You
don't believe me? Look, Pelosi's been in power for 35 years in Congress. But
the fact is, I've been re-voted.
Yeah, and what has she done to fix the problems we're having now? The problems we have now could have been fixed decades ago. But, like we said, Congress does nothing.
But we'll see. But Biden is going to be interesting. We'll see how he does. Because honestly, I don't see him winning the nomination. I'll be surprised. What are you looking for?
New York Times.
Oh, you're looking for the article? Jaime's looking for that article on
looking for the article.
Why teenagers might grow conservative.
Yeah. Why teenagers today may grow up to be conservative. This is in 2014.
Oh, kind of outdated, sir. This is 2014, 2 years, BB, before Bernie. But
I'll look for that. I won't take you guys' time on that. Thank you for tuning in to MM Talk. We are your hosts, Jaime Moreno
and Eddie Marmolejo. And always remember to share our channel, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave your comments below. Do you think Joe Biden's going to get the nomination? You think he's not? Or do you think he's going to get the Democratic nomination? Also, just let us know your thoughts on the show. Give us any feedback. What topics do you guys want us to discuss? And with that said, one more time, I'm Eddie Marmolejo.
I'm Jaime Moreno.
And remember,
we're tired of it too.
Jaime and I would like to thank you all for tuning in to our podcast this week. If this is your first time tuning in to MM Talk and you like the show, we invite you to come back every Thursday. Just hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified when our videos are up. Also, do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for any additional notifications. This is MM Talk, and remember, we're tired of it too.